As you know, this afternoon, a 3-year-old child was shot and killed in a vehicle at Garden and Nelson Streets. I'll let the chief talk with you about what we know, but first let me just say this. Our whole city's heart breaks for this child and for his family. This is a crime that wounds a community, and we are grieving with the family of this little boy. For anyone with a heart, a soul, and anyone who's ever loved a child, this is a crime that is unfathomable and sickening. I am heartbroken and I am angry. When you watch the video, it is difficult to believe that the shooter did not know who he was shooting at, and it is very difficult to believe that he could not see children in that car. And it is incomprehensible to me how any human being could purposefully shoot into a vehicle with children in it. This is, of course, an ongoing investigation, and we will be pursuing the murder of this child with every resource we have. As you also know, there was a separate shooting incident that happened not too far away on Magnolia Street a few hours later. It is too early to know whether those two incidents were connected. In that shooting, an individual lost his life as well. So that was a second homicide this afternoon. I will turn it over to the chief and then ask if Council President Rosado or Majority Leader T.J. Clark would like to say any words.
Thank you, Mayor. So I just want to start by echoing the Mayor's sentiments. This is, any loss of life is a tragedy. You know, we stand here far too often and talk about tragedies like it, but a 3-year-old, an innocent 3-year-old is just an exceptional tragedy, and my condolences to the family, our thoughts, the police department's thoughts to not only the family of the 3-year-old, but of every parent out there. I just can't imagine the loss that's being experienced there. The details and what we know at roughly 2:25 p.m., the police department got a shot spotter activation in the area of 182 Nelson Street in the city. While officers were out there canvassing for a scene, we were notified by a local hospital that a 3-year-old was transported by private vehicle with a gunshot wound. Originally, the 3-year-old was listed in critical condition, but unfortunately succumbed to his injuries a short time later. The entire incident, as the mayor alluded to, was captured on our Hartford Police Department cameras, and in short order, it was discovered that a black Honda Accord stopped alongside the victim's vehicle and then shot directly into that victim's vehicle. The passenger points a gun and very intentionally fires at that car. The suspect vehicle then flees west on Nelson Street. The suspect vehicle is confirmed stolen out of Windsor Locks, Connecticut. Our HPD auto theft detectives located the vehicle within an hour of us identifying it. That was a testament to the hard work of the police department in response to this incident. But that vehicle was found unoccupied. The individual, the passenger in the vehicle, the male passenger in the victim's vehicle, fled the scene. He is believed to be the intended target in this event. We have still not located that individual, but efforts are underway to do so. This is an active investigation, but one thing we also know is there were several witnesses out there. So we are encouraging and pleading anyone with information regarding this incident is encouraged to contact the police department, either through the tips line or through calling us directly. We are looking for any and all help here. I can identify the 3-year-old. The 3-year-old is Rondell Jones, 3 years old, from Enfield Street here in the city. This, as I alluded to, in how long it took us, or how short of a period of time it took us to find this vehicle, our initiatives to combat violent crime as the weather increases have already been underway for quite some time now. After we had a spike in violent crime in the fall last year, we initiated our efforts early this year. There are a tremendous amount of police officers out there, both plainclothes and uniform officers. We had pre-planned details tonight with the Department of Motor Vehicle and with the Connecticut State Police, so they are now out there with us as well, continuing to patrol the streets and working on solving both of these crimes. So I just want to assure the community that our resources, we are all hands on deck here to make sure that we curb this violence and that we solve these 2 cases as quickly as possible. With that, Council President.
Thank you, Chief Doty. Today's a very sad day. We lost a 3-year-old child. No mother should have to bury her child. To the person who did this, know that the City of Hartford, the Hartford Police Department, will find you and you will be prosecuted to the extent. Hoy perdimos un niño de 3 años. Ninguna madre debe enterrar a su hijo. A la persona que hizo esto, que nos está viendo, a lo mejor por estas cámaras, sepan que te vamos a encontrar y que vas a enfrentar lo máximo en la justicia. Si ustedes saben quién fue o tienen cualquier información, por favor, llamen a la línea anónima de la policía. Llamen a cualquier persona que ustedes conocen. Si se sienten con confianza de llamar a un concejal, por favor, háganlo. Thank you.
Good evening. As a father of 2 sons, young sons at that, my heart aches, and I cannot fathom the idea of one of my sons succumbing to a bullet. And it is a tragedy that a mother and siblings have to witness her child and their siblings being shot at and ultimately now losing a life. And this is a time where I believe is a call to action for anyone who has witnessed this heinous act to step up and please break the street code by saying what they witnessed. No one, as Council President said, no mother should be able to bury their child at such a young age. And at a time where things are opening up, I do encourage individuals to please take caution and please stop the violence that's continued to take place at the hands of senseless acts. This must cease. There is no way that we can get to achieve anything when we are doing person-to-person interactions such as this. So please, to those that are watching this, to those who have witnessed this, this crime, please, I ask that you contact the Hartford Police Department today to give them an account as to what happened, because the persons who have did this best believe that you will be prosecuted to the fullest extent, because we need to ensure the safety of our residents and also to our children. Our children should not walk in fear in our streets, being fearful of them succumbing to a stray bullet that was not intended for them. So I do support the police department and those that are working to bring closure, and let's remember the mother needs closure to this act, and I do call for prayer for the entire city and also to the family at this time. Thank you.
Be happy to take any questions.
Chief Doty, the nature of the relationship between the intended victim and the actual victim family, what was the nature of that rapport?
The relationship between the passenger in the car that we believe to be the intended victim and the 3-year-old?
Correct.
Not sure at this time.
Okay, and then do we have, there's video of the actual moment of the shooting, but do we have a suspect description or anything?
The vehicle description we have some suspect description in there. It's not as good as the vehicle, but the C4, our command center, is working on images, hopefully, of the suspects that we should be able to release shortly.
Suspect?
Suspects.
Chief, do you have the relationship of the other person in the car to the 3-year-old?
Aaron, I don't think we have any of the relationships to release at this time. Yeah, none of the relationships at this point.
Do you know if either was a parent?
The mother was in the vehicle.
The mother of the 3-year-old?
Yes.
And you were saying you were children around. Were there multiple kids in that car beyond the 3-year-old?
Yes.
And no one else was injured?
No. 3.
There were 3 kids in that car?
Yep.
Were they siblings?
3, 4, and 5-year-old, they were siblings.
With mom in the car and
Yes.
was mom driving?
We're not going to release that at this point.
Will you be releasing a portion of that video or you said images from the video at all?
Yeah, I mean, the investigation is pretty early on here. If we can release anything that will help locate the suspect or suspects, we will be doing that as soon as possible.
Any indication on motive at this point?
No.
Has state police been notified at all? Have you had a chance to reach out to Commissioner Ravella or anything like that?
As I said, the Connecticut State Police was in the city already, working with us tonight on a pre-planned detail, so they are actually here out there with our officers now.
Are you going to be releasing the identity of the second homicide victim that happened over on Magnolia? You have the identity of that person?
As soon as we make sure next of kin is notified, yes, we'll release them.
And I know that they're going to kind of hint towards this, but is it still kind of being determined right now whether or not these were connected, or does it appear that these were separate?
Again, both investigations are early. The Magnolia Street one is even earlier than the Nelson Street one. So as of this time, we don't have anything to indicate that they're connected, but that doesn't mean that we won't develop something later. Right now, there's nothing to indicate they're connected, though.
Were there any other injuries inside that car besides the 3-year-old?
Not that we know of. Again, what we believe to be the intended target, we do not have that person yet.
Was the, right, in the release, it says that the intended target was in the passenger seat of that car. Was the child on that person's lap? Or did that child get mixed in with one where it was there?
No, the child wasn't on the lap.
Obviously concerned about retaliation, all sorts of things, violence picking up because in light of a 3-year-old being killed. Have you guys been working with the community partners at all on this?
Community partners are out with us right now as well. Our pastors, we have 2 of them in the room right here, are in as well. We have, like when I said all hands on deck, I don't mean just the police department. I mean community partners everywhere.
Can you release the age of the Magnolia Street victim and the age of the second victim?
I'll leave the release of that to Lieutenant Boisler. That one's new, and I don't think we have that to release yet. Oh, did you ask for a second victim on Magnolia?
Well, there were 2, there was one person killed and a second.
So we have one.
Asking about the ages of both.
I believe the ages of both are 17, right?
Correct.
So the ages of both are 17, but the second one is not a gunshot wound victim at this point. Only one gunshot.
So 2 kids were killed in Hartford today. 17-year-old.
Yes.
What do you have to say about that? I mean, obviously you just released that you were talking about one kid, but there are two children who were killed in Hartford today.
I think that, there's a 3-year-old and a 17-year-old. Like I said, the Magnolia Street investigation is still under investigation. For a 3-year-old to be innocently shot in the car, as I said earlier, is just an exceptionally tragic event. No loss of life is not tragic, but I don't have the information as to what led to and the motive for either one of these shootings, the Magnolia Street either. But like I said, as a police department, what we do is we respond to that. We try to bring the people to justice as soon as we can. We blanket the city with police officers to make sure that that we're preventing any potential retaliation, which you already alluded to. And that's what the officers are out there doing right now.
Chief, I may have missed this, but the intended target that fled on foot, do
Do we know where he is, or?
We do not have him at this point, no.
How was the suspect vehicle recovered? Where and what were the circumstances?
We're not going to release where it was covered or the circumstances at this point. It was recovered unoccupied, though.
We had heard that there may have been a crash that it was involved in. Can you say whether it was involved in a crash?
I can say it was not. That's not how it was recovered.
How many shootings confirmed occurred today in the city of Hartford? We know there was also a shooting on Mother Street with no victim. There was other gunfire heard throughout.
These are the two incidents where we had victims.
How many shots fired incidents occurred in the city today?
I don't have that in front of me. Okay.
Thank you, everybody. We will, of course, share additional information as we have it. But let me just close where we started with our community's condolences and prayers for this little boy and for his family and for the young man who was killed on Magnolia Street as well. These crimes tear families apart and they wound a whole community. We have to stand together, not just to help our police solve these crimes, but to do everything we can to end this kind of senseless violence. Thank you.